Welcome to another edition, or should I say a special edition of Blacks in Motion right here at BVN at 8. And for y'all that's been around for a while, you probably recognize the young man I got here with me, my old partner in crime. Had to bring him back for this special mock draft special here at Blacks in Motion, because we want to give that to y'all before it actually comes up on May 8th. Man, how's it feel to be back, man?
Man, it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a sports take to relate to. But I'm here. It's wonderful. Good to be here with the people. Blacks in Motion. Let's get to it, man. I'm ready.
Let's get to it. So we're going to jump right in here into this draft. And what we're going to do for you today is something a little special. We're going to talk, some of the heavy hitters. We're going to talk about some sleepers. And we're also, the main attraction here is we're going to do kind of a mock draft, Blacks in Motion style, but with a little hint of fantasy. That's right. So we flipped a coin earlier. Caesar got the odds, I got the evens. We're going to go through, give you our mock draft, but we're going to treat it like a fantasy draft. So if I pick somebody that's on his board later, guess what? He's already picked. You got to pick somebody else. But to go ahead and start off the conversation, we want to talk about some of the best players in the draft and kind of put them head to head with somebody that's in a similar position with them. Now, of course, we all know, leading into the draft, everybody's talking about Jadeveon Clowney. They've been trying to clown him, but he's the best player in the draft. I mean, I should say the physical phenom of the draft. Now, put him up against a player like Khalil Mack, who jumped up on the scene. True. And what kind of comparisons could we draw? What can you say about that matchup?
Well, first of all, who knows where Buffalo is? I mean, obviously you know where Buffalo is, but have you really watched Buffalo games? Khalil Mack is one of those guys that does a lot of dual things. He's a hybrid guy. Rush the pass, drop back in the zone. Big, strong, fast. And unlike Clowney, I don't know if anybody's ever questioned his motor, his desire to be out there, the fact that he doesn't take plays off. For me, if I'm a GM, I'm looking for a guy that can give me everything I need to make high impact plays on defense and not have to worry about if this guy gonna show up on Sunday.
Now, with both of those guys, Clowney and Mack, both of them looked the part. Now, like you're saying, you might not have been able to see Khalil Mack looking the part or playing the part because he's from a small school. Had a big game against Ohio State, manhandled everybody that he went up against. That's the reason why he jumped up as a top 5 pick. And plus, when he went to the combine, he had great measurables, great stats. Now, Clowney, I agree. I don't think he handled the latter part of his college career well. He took plays off. He felt he was schemed against, so he just said, hey, I better save myself because I know I'm probably going to be the number 1 draft choice. But the one thing you can't deny is that he's a physical freak.
Definitely can't deny that.
He's a specimen. Now, the problem is his motor, is his heart, is his work ethic. I always say sometimes that's a bad deal to give to a guy like that if you don't already have him in the organization. But going and talk about the number 1 pick, it's a serious decision.
Yeah, and I mean, true enough, this guy was a freak at the combine, super fast, super athletic. I mean, I don't know if there's a more talented player from a just physical specimen standpoint that's in the draft. I mean, he could be the best player in a long time that we've ever seen. But he could also be a bust.
A bust.
And we ain't got no problem calling out people who end up being a bust.
Yeah, you gonna hear that word a lot.
I definitely like Clowney. On the other end, the big guy that I'm looking for, Johnny Manziel.
Since we were talking about bust,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Absolutely, I said it. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, Mr. I'm not just gonna throw in a t-shirt and shorts. I'm gonna get you with the shoulder pads. I'm gonna put on my helmet because that's how football players practice. Love Manziel from the standpoint of he's a guy that has the it factor. I don't believe that he's going to fail on Sunday. Nobody knows how good that he'll be when it comes to the next level, but we don't know how good any of these guys will be until they get there. What I like about Manziel, he's going to bring some notoriety to my team. People are going to love him. They're going to hate him. But what they're not going to do is they're not going to turn the TV off when he's on. I like it from a business standpoint, and I like the fact that he may energize some of those old fogies on a team that he lands with.
Now look, Johnny Manziel, yes, we know that's Johnny Football, highlight reel and the one man and all that good stuff like that. Things that I really don't like about Johnny Manziel, his decision making and his size. To me, you can't turn over the football. Yeah, if you're getting blown up because your offensive line is sorry, that's one thing. But if you scrambling around, run around, throwing in the triple coverage, throwing in the double coverage, holding the ball out here like it's about as small as a tennis ball, but it's really an oblong pigskin, and you turn over my football, we gonna have a problem, Johnny Football. That's what we gonna have. And his size. We've seen it even with Robert Griffin, who's bigger than him. Like to scramble outside the pocket. Will he be durable? Will he be able to handle the punishment that could be in front of him? Think a la Michael Vick, you know. Great speed, great intangibles, but he ended up becoming not Mr. Teflon, more like Mr. Tinfoil, because the boy got beat up. Now, putting him up against somebody else who kind of skyrocketed to the top of the draft, Blake Bortles from UCF. Look, this guy has all the measurables. He's big, 6'5", 230, all this good stuff. Make all the NFL throws, everything like that. But again, he kind of runs into that same thing like Khalil Mack. He kind of came on late, and if you really wasn't looking for him, you didn't know. Right. But he did show and prove in all of the pre-draft workouts, all the combine, everything like that. He has a ton of confidence. I like him. I can't say that I would take him on the quarterback my team, but I can definitely see him as a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, and they're talking about how prototypical this guy is. First of all, I've never heard of you until the combine. Don't really know anything about you. Here's what I do know. All of the stuff that you might be able to do from a throw, you make every throw. Every quarterback makes every throw, unless you're Teddy Bridgewater. Shout out to Teddy. Everybody has the look. Everybody plays a part, but here's the reality. If I got to compare Blake Bortles to Johnny Manziel, when was the last time UCF played anybody that was worth talking about? We're talking about SEC football. We're talking about Johnny Manziel picked apart Alabama 2 years in a row. Oh, and Manziel won the Heisman Trophy. And Manziel is with Nike. And Manziel has been on ESPN more times than Blake Bortles probably has seen ESPN in his lifetime. Just saying. Is there another duo kind of tandem we should be talking about?
Yeah, one more we should talk about. And if you ask me, this duo, or should I say these two players at the same position, we could be talking about the best player in the draft all around. Talking about Sammy Watkins. You know, this guy, wide receiver out of Clemson, Mr. Do Everything. I'm talking about separation on the routes, off the ball.
Yeah, sure.
Great hands, and then after I get the ball, I'm getting yards after the catch, and I'm running over guys like I'm a running back. I mean, this guy is the total package when you talk about wide receiver. Good size, good speed, great route running, smart. I mean, haven't heard anything about any off-the-field problems, any major things like that. I mean, this guy could literally come into a franchise now and literally be instant impact for anybody. But, he's a different type of, from a stature standpoint, a different type of wide receiver than the other guy I'll let you talk about, and that's Mike Evans from Texas.
Yeah, Mike Evans, obviously, again, I like him because he was catching footballs from Johnny Manziel. But beyond that, 6'5", guy catch anything, you go up and get the ball. Mike Evans is one of those wide receivers where you're like, man, just look at him. Thinking end zone, 20 yards away, throw it up, meet me at the back of the pylon. I mean, he seems like he has the intangibles to pay the bills. One of my concerns with Mike Evans, don't really see him move around a lot. He kind of plays one position. He's in one part of the offense every time. That could be a problem when he gets to the next level. Wonder if he'll be a little too predictable. I have to agree with you, though, if I had to choose between the two. Sammy Watkins just seems like the guy to take. In fact, I heard one guy, one of those national professional analysts, who said, Sammy Watkins is the type of dude who could line up at running back next year and maybe rush for 1,400 yards. He's that good.
He is that good. So that kind of rounds out some of the guys we want to highlight that we should be looking for to go early in this draft. The question is it going to go early in our mock draft? Because you're about to find out. So when we come back from the break, we're going to go ahead and jump into our fantasy mock draft right here at Blacks in Motion. So go ahead and stay logged on.
Welcome back to Blacks in Motion. Again, I just stole the spotlight because that's what I used to do when I was here back in the day. We're going to start with the fantasy draft. And remember, the guys that we pick, I may have them. May have been somebody that Cliff was going to take number 2. Too bad. Pick somebody else. When in doubt, if it gets to where we don't know what name. I'll probably pull something out of the sky because that's just what I'm good at.
That's what
He's going to give you all of the good tangible stuff, but let's just get right to it. You ready?
Yeah.
With the number 1 pick of the Blacks in Motion 2014 NFL Draft, I'm definitely going to take Johnny Manziel. I mean, if you couldn't get it from the first segment, let me give it to you again. How does a franchise in Texas that's already playing second fiddle to the Dallas Cowboys miss an opportunity to draft the golden boy of media coverage? I mean, mind you, we don't know who's going to be good. We don't know who's going to pan out into superstardom. But here's what we do know. I'm selling Manziel jerseys because the combine jersey that he wore in the black and with the pro day with the president, the former presidents and whatnot, he's gonna sell. He's gonna continue to bring seats, and yes, he's gonna make my team a little more relevant than America's team come Sunday. Love Johnny Manziel with the first pick. Love him as the face of my franchise. Love him at the quarterback position.
I want y'all to pay attention to one word. That is mock. And I'm glad this is a mock because he's taking it a little bit too serious because he's not the GM of the Houston Texans. So I'm glad he's not able to make that. Well, just so you know, with him taking Johnny Manziel, that jacked up my whole board right here. Like I'm going to be on standby with each one of these picks. So this is my issue. Picking at number 2 is the St. Louis Rams. Now, with Jadeveon Clowney being gone, it was easy for them to want to upgrade their offense, particularly their offensive line. So the question is now, in this mock draft, if Clowney is still on the board, do they take what some people are still saying also is the best athlete in the draft, offensive lineman Greg Robinson from Auburn, or do they go ahead and roll the dice on Jadeveon Clowney, but they already have a great pass rusher out there for the Rams? So what do we do? Number 2 pick, St. Louis Rams. I'm going to show you, this is a mock drop for Clowney. The Rams are going to stick with Greg Robinson, best offensive lineman that we've seen come through the draft in many years. He's a staple. He'll be able to be there whether he's protecting the quarterback they currently have now. I'm a man from Oklahoma. Bradford. See,
Yes.
that's how forgettable he is. Whether he's blocking for Bradford or somebody else that they're able to get in the later rounds or somebody else that they're grooming, that will be what would be there for the Rams, Greg Robinson.
True. Now, can't argue with that. Number 3, Jacksonville needs a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, defensive end, linebacker, kicker. We might need a coach by the end of this year. But keeping with the theme, not going to let this guy fall. If he ends up at number 3, yes, even with all of the suspected taking plays off, he'll probably fit right in at Jacksonville. Definitely taking Jadeveon Clowney at number 3 with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, not much to say about that. If he falls to 3, he will get scooped up.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Moving on to the number 4 pick, which is owned by the Cleveland Browns. Now, I had a guy there. But I figured that there was another guy would be off the board, but he's still there. So since that's the case, now the Cleveland Browns will select Sammy Watkins out of Clemson to put on the other side of the other receiver they have there in Cleveland, Joshua Gordon. Josh Gordon. They're going to put him on the other side of Josh Gordon. They may not know who's throwing to him just yet.
Clearly.
But go ahead and put Sammy Watkins out there, no-brainer. Keep him in orange out there, Cleveland Browns.
With the 5th pick, the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders. Now, in theory, you'd like for the Oakland Raiders to take a quarterback here. Because I'm not sold on, Pryor's gone, Terrell Pryor's gone. The guy that came in and substituted, insert name here, those guys, who cares? We're going to take a quarterback here just to keep it consistent. Because I do believe that the Raiders should draft a quarterback. Oh, wait. This just in, the Oakland Raiders will take from Texas A&M Mike Evans, because that's what the Raiders need. Another playmaker with nobody to throw it to him. Mike Evans at wide receiver. Love the Raiders pick. Love the Raiders to finish at the bottom of the league yet again.
You know, we should have did a mock draft. Me and him should have got together. But I guess this makes it all fun because when I tell you, I'm gonna have to have a pen for after we come back from break later on because I'm gonna need to mark out. Okay, yes. The Oakland Raiders might make a bonehead selection like that. Instead of going with something like a staple offensive lineman or even a quarterback, what they should take, they would do something like take Mike Evans, and you can see that happen, and it'll be a horrendous pick because the Raiders act like they got a boatload of money too and don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
So, okay. Number 6, the Atlanta Falcons. If this happens, all this kind of whizzles out this way, I think they go offensive line. Okay. That's what they need, and they're gonna go with a bloodline with Jake Matthews out of Texas A&M. The guy has failed. You know, he was projected to be number 1, number 2 right when the season was over. If he falls down to them, it'll be a little bit of a Christmas present, a little bit, and they'll go ahead and take him because it's a no-brainer pick for them right there, Atlanta.
That's true. I actually had Matthews going to the Buffalo Bills. That kind of ruins where I'm at with this. So, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I actually like Mike Glennon. I think that he came in last year at quarterback and did a really good job. Doug Martin, I think they have enough on defense to stay competitive in the NFC South. However, in the event that I don't believe in Mike Glennon as much as, or the Buccaneers don't believe in him as much as I do, we will at that pick, we will take Blake Bortles, because you just can't beat 6'5" and being able to look over the offensive line. Again, as Cliff said earlier, this guy seems to be able to make all of the throws. He's probably got a little chip on the shoulder in terms of how much people have been talking about Manziel. Possibly could be a steal if he falls this low. And then if Glennon ends up being better than what we think, and there's no need for Bortles, you might have a Redskin situation where maybe in a year or two, they can use that and get a draft pick.
Whew. Okay. So, yeah, Blake Bortles at number 7 with Tampa Bay. Yeah, he continues to mess up my draft. This is making me think on my toes here. Okay. I like Blake Bortles. I think he can go somewhere and he can do fine. I can see them taking him there. It's a safe pick, if you ask me, because you still have Glennon who can develop.
True. And
let him come on. And Blake Bortles is a more prototypical quarterback. Coming up at number 8, the Minnesota Vikings, who I had taken Blake Bortles because it only made so much sense. But, they still have Christian Ponder down there. Right. So at that point, I think it's a reach for any other quarterback at this point.
Okay.
And if everything falls this way, I'm going to have to go ahead and say the Minnesota Vikings take offensive lineman from Michigan, Taylor Lewin. Now, look, this guy has some off-the-field problems, but hey, if you can't get a quarterback, you might as well get somebody who can protect the ones you have now. This guy tested better at the combine. He's probably a great first-round talent, and they won't have no qualms about taking him that high, number 8.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
It's a very good pick. The Buffalo Bills. Don't really know what to say about the Buffalo Bills. Kind of flash in the pan like. Sometimes good, sometimes not. They really need something on the offensive line end. I had originally slotted Jake Matthews there. I'm going to have to go down my list a little bit. We'll take this guy, dependable from Catholic school, Notre Dame. We're going to take Zach Martin for the Buffalo Bills at number 9.
That's not a bad pick. I'm an ex-offensive lineman from high school. I love it when we go high. I ain't got no problem with that. Little bit of a reach, but he is solid. He's solid. It's not a big reach, but then you will really be drafting for need at that point. Exactly. And they will be passing up on a lot of things. A few wide receivers they may be able to go for at that position, but I don't have a problem with Zach Martin going there again. It might be a little run for the offensive lineman at this point in the draft, and I can see them going with that. Not a bad pick. So coming up, number 10. Number 10 is the Detroit Lions. Now, a lot of people have Mike Evans and all these people who fall into him and everything. I think they actually go defense, no-brainer pick. They need something in the secondary. Justin Gilbert, solid cornerback from Oklahoma State. Just that simple. The great guys, great speed, great size, and he can help those guys on defense because they have many offensive weapons. They need to tend to the defense.
That's a good pick. Detroit is horrendous. So even they could have 4 draft picks and they would still find a way to choke it away in the playoffs.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Shout out Matthew Stafford. You're horrible. With the 11th pick, the Tennessee Titans. Have we talked about this guy yet?
I don't know.
Has Khalil Mack fallen all the way to number 11 to the Tennessee Titans?
I forgot about him at number 8.
Definitely. See, one of the things that you have to understand when dealing with me and Blacks in Motion is that I throw so many curveballs, I end up getting the guy that I want with the team that I want. With the 11th pick, the Tennessee Titans do select, out of the University of Buffalo, Khalil Mack, who will be the best defensive player in the league next year.
I would go on to say that yes, he could be possibly the best rookie defensive player and have a long career, many Pro Bowls and everything like that. I made a mistake, forgot he was still on the board. That's why I said I need a pen. I got to wait for our break to come up, and then I would know that Khalil Mack was still on the board. But yes, at this point, if you ask me, Khalil Mack falling past pick number 5 or 6 is going to be a steal for any teams that pick him at that point. And if anybody picks anybody above him, it'll be strictly because of need, and that can be dangerous because you could be possibly passing up on a future Hall of Fame, perennial Pro Bowl type of player. So going on to number 12 is New York Giants, right?
That is
New York Giants. The New York Giants have made a Super Bowl run here not too years ago by having an outstanding defensive line.
Yeah.
Well, most of those guys are gone.
True.
They're going to want to go ahead and repopulate that line, and they're going to do it from the University of Pittsburgh, Aaron Donald. Look, this guy to me is a no miss. You can't miss with this guy. He has all of the measurables. Great technique, and I mean, he's a smart player. And I mean, if you need a 3 technique, even a 1 technique, I mean, that's the guy, man. That's the guy.
Yeah. Moving on. With the 13th pick, the Washington Redskins. Who? Now, one of the things you have to understand about Washington, yes, Robert Griffin struggled coming off the injury, a lot of chemistry issues in that locker room. Some people say that he was a bit selfish the offseason before. He was still kind of learning his craft, too. I actually like Robert Griffin to get back to, maybe not all the way back to the level he was when he first came out as a rookie, but I think he'll be much better than last year.
Absolutely.
However, you'd also understand by watching the Redskins that the offense was not the problem. The defense was the problem. The defense that was unable to tackle anybody. So, to shore that up, with the 13th pick, Washington Redskins, and this is no laughing matter, from the University of Alabama,
Wow.
Clint Dixon.
Yes.
Definitely taking the safety because this guy is somebody who will come up to the line, smack you in the mouth, cover, help, anything you need him to do. He'll probably bring a little toughness, especially coming out of SEC. Who wouldn't be able to like that in Washington?
This continues to mess up my draft here. I
Absolutely.
mean, just, I guess we call them curveballs after curveball. It's not a laughing matter, but yes, to the Clinton Dix. Yes, he's great safety. He'll do wonders out there in Washington. Number 14, who we got at number 14?
Chicago.
The Chicago Bears. I had Clinton Dix going to Chicago because they need help there.
Sorry about that.
So, let's see. If I'm going to stay true to my mock, or am I going to have them reaching a little bit? And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say the Chicago Bears, they have weapons out there.
Okay.
So they probably really don't need nothing on offense, per se. They really need some help on defense. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say because these guys kind of rated close together at the same position, the Chicago Bears, with the 14th pick, select Calvin Pryor, safety from the University of Louisville. If you ask me, it's a toss-up, either or with Clinton Dix. That's a great pick. Can't go wrong. Peanut Tillman, them getting old out there in the secondary. It'll be a great pickup right there, number 14.
With the 15th pick, now, remind me, who is the running back in Pittsburgh?
The cat from Michigan State, Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
Le'Veon
Now,
Bell.
he missed the first 6 games of the season with an injury.
Yes.
Took him about 3 weeks to get himself together. But there were flashes that when he found a hole, he's the type of runner that Pittsburgh has benefited. Go all the way back to Jerome Bettis. Go all the way back to a time where smash mouth football in Pittsburgh was running the football first. Now, you need somebody to create those holes. You need somebody that's big. You definitely need somebody that's going to be on that line. Now, I'd like to have somebody to protect Roethlisberger because Lord knows I don't need him injured.
Big.
But with the emergence of the running game, I think that would help Roethlisberger out a lot. I think you would continue to see some flow on offense. So I'm going to take, with the 15th pick out of UCLA, offensive guard, Sua Philo.
Wow.
Definitely take him. Gigantic man. Welcome to the league, big fella.
Again, I have no qualms with offensive lineman going high. I had him actually late in my mock, but he is somebody I think that is definitely a first-round talent, and that is actually a very smart move going up and getting him at number 15.
A draft for need, baby.
Now, right before we go to break, we're going to split it in half. We're going to do the 16th pick. Now, I'm going to give y'all a secret. Me and this guy, we do agree on one thing. When it comes to football, we're Dallas Cowboy fans. And at pick number 16 is the Dallas Cowboys. Now look, We would trade this pick and the next 10 first-round picks to fire Jerry Jones. That we would do that. We really would. And I actually like Jerry as an owner, but Jerry as a GM, oh Lord, please, just give somebody else the team, Jerry. Give somebody else the team. You'll still have input, but you're not the coach, man.
Give us a little Donald Sterling, Jerry.
It's a team. You own a team, not a team of one. You own a team of people. It's not just you, man. It's all right though. But we love what you're doing up there in Dallas.
Absolutely.
Well, so with the 16th pick, with the departure of DeMarcus Ware, with the ascension per se of Rod Marinelli coming on, taking over the defense with this Tampa 2, we're still gonna have to build on this defensive line. And this is actually one of my sleepers, he's really not a sleeper, he's a great athlete. But I think he's at this mid-round, Dallas can pick him up. Outside linebacker from UCLA, Anthony Barr. He is a physical freak. I think that once he gets to the league, he gets some of that professional weight on him. He can put his fingers in the dirt, or he can come off the edge like he's been doing in UCLA. The guy tested out of the gym, or should I say off the field, with his measurables at the combine. Everybody isn't saying his name because he's shrouded by people like Clowney and Mack or whatever, but Anthony Barr could mess around and be the best outside linebacker taken like in the last 5 years. This guy is great. I think he's a class guy. Lord knows we need it in Dallas for all them knuckleheads up there. I think he'll be great for the team.
Yeah, on a personal note, I would love that.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's the first 16 picks. Go ahead and hang in there with us. We're going to come back. We're going to finish off the first round with the last 16 picks all the way from 17 to 32. And then we'll come back and do some sleepers. So go ahead and stay logged on with us right here at Blacks in Motion.